Hey, good morning and welcome to Crusher Trading's recap show for it's Thursday, March 20th, 2025. Had FOMC yesterday, had some really good opportunities in my opinion, and we'll talk about those here coming up. And yeah, we had a kind of a dovish FOMC yesterday, didn't we? And I think, in my opinion, I think that he was being dovish so that we didn't kind of run into this snowball effect with the market, because the market's already bearish. It's been bearish, and we don't want to go into the day with any bias, but that's how I trade. I don't like to go in with a bias, but I can tell you what, I'm leaning more bearish than bullish. If I'm going to go long on some positions, I'm probably going to try to get in and out quicker than if I was on the bear side. Just an FYI. But yesterday we had some great trades on Meta, and I'll show you. I got $1,270 trading in the small account, building it up very nicely. The magic number is about 3 to 6 months. Exponentially, the account should start growing big time. But we're averaging probably about $300 to $400 per day, and every once in a while we get the big days. We're running in about $1,200 to $1,500. But look at Meta yesterday. Let me get rid of some of these arrows on here so you can see this a little bit better. Just going to hide these for now. I had this, let's see, what day am I on here? The 19th? Yeah. So I had a couple levels marked out here from the hourly. I have a level marked out at 579.38-ish. Another one marked out at 587.58-ish. Somewhere's in there. You see we're kind of range trading for most of the day, and it was kind of a choppy morning for most of the day. So there really wasn't anything going on. We didn't really have any crush zone trades. But what I did end up taking, like I said, patience, right? Patience. Sat here for a better part of the morning. I didn't really have anything going on yesterday, so I didn't mind sitting here. But I did not get my move until about 12:20. And the real move came in at about 12:52, almost 1 o'clock. But I had these two levels marked out, and once we broke in here, I was just gonna, try to take a little scalp trade down to the other level I had marked here. So you can see I got an arrow, I got a sell arrow here. So I thought, I'm just gonna try a couple contracts here. It's about a $2 move, so it would have paid well. Wasn't gonna go big, just a small starter, a couple contracts, which I did, and I held on to this consolidation. And when I got in here, sold one of those contracts, and then look, we got the break to the downside here, and I added into this position at this retest right here. Okay, this is where I got into the trade, and we had a beautiful move down to the crush it zone. So probably partly me being impatient, waiting for that long for a trade, but I got a nice, almost a $5 move right there on Meta. To the downside, you can see I have my risk to reward charts in there. That was a really, really good move to the downside. And I didn't get this one. I had this other level that was marked on top of here. I didn't see the crush zone, but I was so pumped that I got that trade that, I didn't get the second trade. Now, normally on my second trade, I'm going to trade 25% of my profits on here. And so I would have taken a couple more contracts to the upside. And I'll show you this here at the crush it zone. Let me get this up here. And here it is, right at the crush it zone. We had this nice level. We had a little bit of consolidation period. Had to wait for that breakout. And we do get a little bit of a breakout here, retest, and move to the upside. So you would have had your entry in here, your starting position, and then you would have had to hang on for a little bit, right? Once you're in the trade, we had this retest on the 50 SMA. You get a little bit of lift off there. You have your nice green candles moving to the upside here. And, you got to get rid of the 10 seconds. So, it's going to happen. Not every trade is going to be perfect. It's not going to go how you want it to go. We can't judge that. You can see we had a second touchdown here at the crush it zone, which is fine. I had another confirmation arrow for an add spot here into Meta. And this was a beautiful move off the crush it zone. And how big was that move? That was a $17 move on Meta. Talk about FOMO. Definitely we had FOMO on that one for sure, but that was a great move. So that was the crush it zone trade for the day, you guys. That was beautiful. Days like FOMC, I usually say, hey, you know what? Anything before 11 o'clock is where I'm usually trading these. After 11, I don't trade. But like I said, we had an FOMC day. I'm just sitting in my office waiting for 2 o'clock to hit. And it was kind of a dry day. You all know that. And you know what? Days like that, I don't think it's wrong to take a crush it zone maybe a little bit later on. Me, I don't normally sit here all day, but you know what? It's what I was working on yesterday on other things in the chart. So I thought, hey, if I get the setup, I'll take it. Okay, let's go to the other one we trade is Tesla. Well, let me go back to Meta real quick. And what are we looking at for Meta for the day? So once again, Meta, I got these buy now signals in yesterday at the crush it zone, the 1 hour crush it zone. I didn't see this either, but I was so pumped that I got that move to the downside that I missed this one also. But you had a lot of confluence in here. You had a 1 hour crush it zone. You had a previous day low, and then you had the daily intraday crush it zone. Everything you needed for a beautiful trade to the upside, and it went much better than we probably would have expected anyways. But going into today, got some ambiguous movement on here, but I do have these levels right here at 581, 582-ish, and another one at 579.50, and a little bit higher. If the market was to go higher here today, I'd want to see something above 587.48. But basically, this is what I'll be doing is just watching price action around my levels and the crush it zones. I think we should see something play out on one of these tickers, but that's what I'll be looking at on Meta. Nothing swing-wise, just kind of taking it easy, and I'll probably go a little bit light today on this one if I do get a trade. Tesla, once again, another dry morning. Really, nothing was going on. It was actually a very boring day yesterday, but you got a lot of these signals in here that we have. But I got this wedge forming here, and we got a breakout on the wedge. I didn't take it. I seen it, didn't take it, didn't trust it. But you can see you got a little bit of a move off of it. And as we're moving along the day, I did see, but I had already been green for the day. I'm in a small account, so I didn't have any money left to spend either. But I have a nice sell now signal right here. And I got a key level on Tesla at 240.70-ish roughly is where I put it. I don't normally trade this late in the day, but like I said, I've been here all day just kind of sitting around. I did see it, didn't trade it, but I do want to talk about it because it is a perfect setup, and they do happen, before noon a lot too in the mornings. But we have a sell now. So you definitely have your entry right here. Get your perfect entry right here on the 10 second. You have your add spot right here on the 2 minute. This confirms our trade, which happens at 15:26. This one here happens at 15:18, right? So before you even trim, you can up your efficiencies on this trade, your profits by not selling right away. So what I have a hard time holding. That's my biggest thing. I have trouble holding. I have the fear of loss. So, I really struggle and work with hanging on. And the way I compensate that is I usually will buy big in the beginning. Like I'll buy 100 contracts and I'll scale, 75 of those contracts out right away to book those profits and based on fear. And then I'll take the rest of them and just hang on. I feel more comfortable with some money in the basket, right? But trying to work through this fear of loss, even that I'll always be dealing with, this is just a part of me, is I put these indicators in here to kind of help me along. And basically, I know once I get into the trade full size, I have about a 70 to 80% chance here in the 10 second for this trade to work out. Now, once I get this on the 2 minute, this is telling me that, hey, you know what? Calm down. You're safe. Things are looking good. And I can hang on to the zero line because that's really what I want to do is hang on to most of my contracts down to the zero line. And you can see it does end up working out. We do not get anything on the 5, which is showing, hey, you know what? Let's get out on the 50 SMA here because we don't have any indication that price wants to continue down on the larger time frame, okay, on this intraday. So that was a awesome trade on Tesla. Let's look at MSTR. A little bit chasey on MSTR. Didn't really make any trades on this one here. Didn't really have anything at the crush it zones. So you can see it kind of blew through it here. And yeah, we just didn't trade it. So I did get a little bit of a buy signal in here, kind of flashed on and off, but didn't pay much attention to it. You can see it did bounce off the 50 SMA on the hourly, really, really nice. And you had that nice move to the upside here on MSTR. Going with Apple. Apple is definitely looking bearish also. I'm not really taking any swings. Everything's going to be intraday, you guys. But you can see that we had some kind of a messy chart here, so I apologize. We got some 1 hour and intraday crush it zones in here, and really don't see anything. Now, after things settle out after FOMC, we did have a crush it zone trade after the fact. So to me, as long as everything sets up, here it is right here on the 10-second, you have this formation on the moving averages. You have yourself a good setup for a move to the downside. Okay, you can even look at Apple in the beginning. You know, we don't even have any levels in here, right? But if I go back here on the 10-second, right, this move that takes place at about 10 o'clock. The reason why I'm bringing this up is at 10 o'clock, you will see a lot of pullbacks, bounces, a lot of great moves on the 10 o'clock candle, okay, on the 1 hour. So here we're at 10:52. Let's get into this trade here in just a second, if I can get this up. So you can see we kind of consolidate right here on the 10-second. Okay, we got this flat top mountain, if you want to call it, peak. On the 2 minute and the 5, it looks pretty sharp. But you get into the 10-second here, and let me see, that's probably not the one I'm looking for. Here it is right here. I thought that was kind of odd. Bear with me here. So here it is right here. So 10:08, right? We get this move, and we're up at the crush it zone. But when price pulls back, really we're just watching the moving averages here. And, you know, it's kind of shaky in here, but we get down below the 50. And what I like is I got this sell signal here, which is telling me we got a nice move to the downside. And you can take this down, and you can see now on the 5, it's telling us here that we got a little bit more room to move to the downside. So you can wait for your pullback, add to your position here on the 5, and then come back to the 1 and take that to the downside, right? And just follow your indicators. Good morning, Don. So that was on Apple. And I want to show you this in the 10-second for your entry. Sometimes they're not always perfect. And if you don't get your starter right here above the 50, that's fine. Just look for it on the bottom side. You see we do get back above the 50 in here. And eventually you're going to get what we're looking for, and that is right here, the perfect overlays on the moving averages for that move to the downside. Okay, that's Apple. Going into today on Apple, and so we got that rejection of the crusher zone on the 1 hour. Same thing. I'm looking bearish on it. I really do. I think we're probably going to see possibly previous day lows from yesterday. I'm going to put a mark on here. It's not going to be number 1 on my watch list, but we'll watch it. And let's go into AMD. AMD, hey, with the way the markets are, incredible strength, right? AMD has really been pushing, so I'm very surprised what we're seeing here on AMD. Now, on the 10-second here, let's see if I can move this up. I don't know, you can see it here. It's disappeared now, but, oh no, there it is. I got a buy signal right here. So nice buy signal on the 10-second. And these are designed for the crush zones, but what I noticed is they actually come up on key levels. Even if I don't have the levels marked out, they do come up for key entry spots. And being that I got the buy zone here, or the buy now, we have an entry right here at 944. You have a break above, you get lift off on the 50, right? So you can get in somewhere in here for your ad spot, and you can see you have this awesome move to the upside. Nice move to the upside on AMD. So nice buy now signal there on AMD. That's all I really have on AMD. They really didn't have any crush zone trades on it. By the time we got to the crush zone, we were here, and it looked very strong. So I'm very surprised. You know, AMD's been the weakest of them. It started out weak out of the Mag 7, and now it's showing a little bit of strength compared to everybody else. So, you know, it might be worth watching if you're trying to move to the upside, but once again, I don't know if I'd be doing that either. But I have this level marked out here at 105.50. Looking for a breakdown retest for a move to the downside here. Okay. So that's AMD. Amazon, same thing. There's really not a lot to talk about. The best trades of the day we had guys, they're pretty much over. Now these buy now and sell now signals that I have, like I said, they're based on the correction zone, but they do show up on these points down here, and on these points on these valleys. And I didn't take anything at Amazon. Amazon doesn't always pay the best, so we'll keep an eye on them. We're beta testing this buy now and sell now signals, and I got them kind of honed in here, and they're actually working out really, really well. So keep an eye on those. I'll let you know if we make a trade off of them. Microsoft, hopefully now we'll get down to the next leg for add-in. I'll start adding into my retirement position here, somewhere around 367, 360-ish into Microsoft. A very small amount because I have a feeling we're going to maybe get into an Q2 bear mode here. So we'll see what happens. But I don't really have anything swinging on Microsoft. And Microsoft also, once again, you can see here we just had pretty much a consolidation day here. Not a lot going on, sideways trading, so I didn't really watch it. NVIDIA, same thing. NVIDIA, we had this break right here, and I also had a sell signal on NVIDIA at the end of the day. And what's cool about this is we get into the 1 hour crusher zone. Like I said, you guys, I normally don't take trades at the end of the day, and I didn't take them, but on FOMC, when the market picks up and we get some volume, because everyone's been waiting to trade all day long, I think that it can work for you. Let me get in here, see where I can show you this sell signal in here. So yeah, there it is. It's gone now, but you get them, and then they come and they go. But we had a nice sell signal here also, and once again, I like to use this as an example because just look for your 10-second setup, and that's really all you need is your 10-second setup on here. And here you get your entry. Here's your break of the 50. You kind of retest it. Your add spots in here, and away we go. And if I put these in the 1 minute here, right? So here it is. Here's your add spot. This is confirming that the trade's good. So it means pretty much don't sell your position. Take this down to the 0 line, and we do get down to the 0 line here eventually on NVIDIA. So that was a really good trade to the downside. Okay. Meta, we just talked about it. Tesla, NVIDIA going into today, same thing. I just have these levels marked. I think if we can break below 116, look for a retest for a move to the downside. That's probably what I'll be looking at most likely is NVIDIA, Meta, and Tesla. That's normally what I look at. They give us the best moves and they pay the best. What else am I dealing with here? We talked about Meta. Let's go to Tesla. I hear both sides of the story. You got Tesla saying up and some saying down. I don't not come into the day with a bias. I have a thesis. If it goes up, I have a thesis. If it goes down, I have a thesis. But if I come in bias, what happens is I usually trick myself into trying to take it long when it's showing me it wants to go to the short side. And I've been caught in that trap several times. So I know the best thing to do to go into the day is to not know what's going to happen, but have a thesis prepared, right? So if something does happen, you know what you're doing. So here's my thesis on Tesla today. If we got this descending trend line here. If we can stay below it, I have this big candle that rejected this flash candle at the 8 o'clock. Yeah, at the 8 o'clock candle. And, if we can break below this level here and we retest it for the move to the downside, we could see another move down to this other level I have 2 days ago, the low. And this here is about a $9 move. So we could see a nice move on Tesla to the downside. It's going to be mostly my main watch for the most part, that and Meta. And let's see what happened yesterday. Same thing. I think we just talked about this. Is got a sell now signal at the end of the day, 3 o'clock, and the same thing. After the FOMC, everything. All the volume came in, all the traders came in. It's just almost as if everyone was just sitting tight for the day, which they were, waiting on information that we already knew But these were really good trades at the end of the day. I only got in on one. Once again, just quick recap. Mine was here on Meta. Took this break and retest here to this key level at 579, and we had an awesome crush it zone. Once again, FOMC or no FOMC, it doesn't matter. It seems that we always get a crush it zone trade every single day on one of the Mag 7s. I mean, every single day. It's just almost like clockwork. It's very rare that we don't. I think a couple days ago we did have one, and we didn't have any trades that day, but for the most part, you're going to get a trade, and if not, we might have a second chance at one too. So that's what we have for the day, you guys. Good luck trading. We're going to be back here in about 20 minutes for the open. So I'm going to clean charts.